discussing some Mandalorian, and it's actually been a super long time since we've had a new guest on the channel. And we have a new guest on the channel today. John, what's going on, my man? No, man, it's cool because I see you and Helen talk Lord of the Rings, and I know you guys talk all sorts of nerdy stuff. So it's cool, man. And like, you know, me and you have obviously chatted privately on Facebook and stuff like that, but this is kind of our first collaboration. And we both, I see the kind of content that you post, and you've come on the channel in my live chats and stuff like that and chatted with everyone in the live chat. So it's really cool to have people on, and you started your channel just a little bit ago. So what we're going to do, chat, is we're going to get to know John for a few minutes here, and then we'll get into we got awesome content today. We're going to talk about the Emmy nominations for The Mandalorian Season 2 casting. We're going to talk about Ahsoka and bo-katan. We were actually just kind of shooting the shit before the stream, talking about all of our favorite stuff that we're looking forward to. But yeah, John, can you kind of talk a little bit about yourself? So you started creating content recently. Oh, my bad, John. I screwed up somehow. They can't hear you. So I gotta adjust something here. Let me, this is probably a screw up by me.
Okay.
Check. Talk again now, John. Let's see if,
check, mic check. Can you guys hear me?
Wow. Kyle's screwing up his stream. How awesome is that?
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Check.
Can you guys hear?
Can you guys hear John
Hello?
now?
Wow.
I think you should be able to hear John now. I might have had it under the wrong setting.
Check.
That was because I had it set it in my game stream, so that might have been my bad on that. Okay,
Yeah.
chat, let us know quickly, please, so we can actually get into some real content.
Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Okay. Someone reply in chat quickly. Let us know. Did we fix it? I think we did. Okay, we fixed it. So everyone, welcome John. John, let's go over that again. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. Technical difficulties aside, John, you basically, like I said, me and you were talking privately. We chatted about all sorts of different fandoms, and you started creating content recently. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so as I was saying, it was born out of what I already do on the Here Be Dragons stream with Steven Stark and Nessie the Questing Beast. You know, we talk about a lot of nerdy, wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk more about just film discussion, which is my passion. And so I decided to start streaming one day, just slightly different stuff. And that's how my channel got started, just kind of wanting to talk about movies and TV shows. So I do a lot of that. And of course, at the time, I didn't realize that pulling double duty on streams would take up quite a bit of my time. But it's been fun, and I've been fortunate to have a lot of wonderful people on there.
Yeah, so you've been getting to know people from the live chat for quite some time too. That's kind of how I started too. I started having discussions with people like me and you first started chatting. I think it was about The Expanse around DragonCon last year, because me and Ashaya got to go interview Stephen Strait and a few other people from The Expanse, which was really cool. And then we started talking about that, but then it kind of evolved into The Mandalorian and all sorts of other awesome shows. But yeah, so for those of you that are here who haven't checked out John's channel, I have all his social media and his YouTube page and his collaboration page, Here Be Dragons, with, of course, Steven Stark and the other awesome people that he collabs with in the description of the video. Really, really easy to find mods. If you want to post it in the live chat, that's cool too. But yeah, so that's a really cool story, and I love hearing that, because you know, that's kind of what I was doing too. I was just like sitting around. I'm like, I should talk about these things. You know what I mean? I've always been super passionate about, you know, X-Men comics and the Marvel universe and stuff like that. And then, you know, growing up reading The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and all sorts of different fandoms. So it's really cool to have conversations with people who have enjoyed the same things as you, but have different experiences, and then you can kind of shoot the shit. So that's really cool. Let's do some shout outs in chat. I see some awesome people here. I see Lady Leaf Underhill. Thanks for joining us. We have a Rick Hoppy, the Maester of Coffee. I'm actually drinking a cold brew today. So there's Rick. Always sends coffee to the stream. Kate Bertinsky. We have Anthony Shaddix, who says, hey, everyone. We also have Vlad Riot. We have Jacqueline and Sunflower Beth. Max and The Mandalorian has been canceled. Yeah, definitely has not been canceled, Max. Anyways, so yeah, let's get into it. Big announcement. Mandalorian has been announced to be coming back officially on October 30th. Pretty exciting news, John.
Yeah, and it could not come any sooner, although I wish it would, but it can't. Just because I think we all need it. We need content. This is a really crappy time for all of us, and I'm really looking forward to having something that I'm passionate about, you know, to look forward to each week.
With a weekly format, too. That's a big thing as a content creator, right? Like, shows like The Witcher, they drop all at once. Like The Boys, they drop 3 episodes, but then they're going to do weekly. The Expanse, I would love to cover that, but they drop all other episodes at once, and that makes it really difficult as a content creator. And what's really exciting about The Mandalorian is they drop weekly episodes. And it was hugely popular. You know what I mean? If you're a Star Wars fan, Baby Yoda, come on, man. Mandalorian, fighting stormtroopers, space vehicle battles, all sorts of cool shit. So it was super successful. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it broke streaming records. And everybody knew it was highly anticipated, right? Like, this was Disney Plus. This is their flagship show that they were launching. And I think it's just, yeah, just really, really exciting. We need some victories in 2020. And, you know, I predicted that it would come back the second week or the first week. But, hey, with 2 days left in October, I'll take it, man. I'll take whatever I can get. And that's perfect because I think the last episode, they'll probably skip, like, as Thanksgiving, they might not have an episode that week. They might skip a week or something like that. The last episode will end around Christmas time. Similar kind of trajectory as last year.
Yeah. I did want to say something about the format, the release format. I mean, just think about how the whole Baby Yoda phenomenon evolved week to week with all the memes and everything. You wouldn't have gotten that if it just dropped all at once.
Yeah.
So I really do think that was a key to it becoming such a cultural phenomenon. And
it's smart by Disney Plus too, as a marketing thing, right? They can milk that. Like, I mean, obviously Disney Plus has the best of the best marketing executives that they could. I mean, they have the money to hire all the talent in the world that they want to market their stuff. So that, I mean, I'm in agreement with you, man, on that.
And I just have to say that I keep going back to what a masterstroke Baby Yoda was. Because prior to that, I remember so much conversation about people saying, well, is anybody but like diehard Star Wars fans going to watch this? Because it's about this, you know, a Mandalorian. How many casual Star Wars fans even know what a Mandalorian is? Are they going to be so hyped up about the show that's about this guy who's kind of like Boba Fett?
And Boba Fett wasn't even in the movies really that much, and he was a hugely popular character, right?
And then at the end of the first episode, they introduce just this such adorable little guy who just stole everybody's hearts, and all of a sudden, it was just the talk of the town. You know, it's everybody was like the Mandalorian, Baby Yoda.
Well, look at how much everyone loved Baby Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, for example.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. This is on a nut. That's like Baby Groot on steroids. Not to say I don't love Baby Groot. I love Baby Groot, but I'm just saying, like, that is like, And it kind of goes to some of the themes of season one, the Kurosawa films, the whole, Baby Yoda being the cub from the samurai films or westerns, this kind of vigilante or, anti-hero protecting a child. Like that kind of goes with, and like you said, John, you have been studying film almost all of your life. Those are kind of some of the influences they put into The Mandalorian, and with people like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau at the helm, who are going to be directing episodes in season 2, we're going to talk about the whole director list. They really made some smart decisions as far as how to kind of map out the trajectory of where the show is going to be going.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we actually got a nice list of things to talk about here. That was kind of just us talking a little bit about season 1, but we're going to talk about bo-katan, the Darksaber, and all of that. But let's talk a little bit about the Emmys, John, because 12 categories for a total of 15 nominations. That's actually a really big deal for a show like this.
I don't know about you, but I was shocked.
I was.
And I'm kind of, I'll say up front, I'm kind of grouchy in general about awards ceremonies. I used to be really into it, but more and more I'm finding that usually my personal interests don't align with what the awards go for, exceptions being like, the Emmys obviously were very kind to Game of Thrones over the years. So that was cool. But still, seeing a show like The Mandalorian Kraken was really shocking and surprising in a good way, because I think it's a breakthrough for, you have Game of Thrones, which was fantasy, but also HBO, which was a very important thing because they love HBO.
HBO is the best network. Let's just be
honest about that. Yeah, it is. This is like, we can have the arguments about whether Star Wars is pure science fiction or sci-fi fantasy, but at the end of the day, this is for all intents and purposes, this is a sci-fi show getting major nominations.
It's crazy because it got I'm looking here, John, nominated for Outstanding Drama Series. Now that category, Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, The American, shows that are very, very, very high quality. And I'm not saying The Mandalorian isn't that, but the fact that it's nominated in its first season, big deal. And we know they have the budget. We know they have unlimited funds for whatever they really want to do. When we first saw Game of Thrones, we really didn't know how far I was going to go after that, because fantasy was kind of this new thing on TV. But when HBO comes around and grabs something like that, that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Obviously, when they make an investment like that. But then we saw the budget grow for Game of Thrones, and we got to the Red Wedding season, and the budget doubled. And it was like, holy geez, now they're really going to start to pull some stuff off with the dragons and all the other stuff, that we saw from the books. And it's just absolutely crazy, man. I do a shout out real quick for a couple more people. We got Danny McKay, Morley, what's going on? Voice of Geekdom, another content creator. If anybody wants to put his channel link in the chat, we can do that too. Dan, what's up? And thank you everyone for joining us. We're just going to be, we're literally just Mandalorian geeks geeking out over Mandalorian news today.
Yeah, I recognize a lot of those names, and I just want to say, guys, thank you for stopping by. I can't actually see your comments, just because of the way the stream is set up, but it means a lot that you're here. No, I'll tell you what really surprised me about the Emmys going for this show is because, The Mandalorian was great, but the thing about Game of Thrones was that it operated on that similar level of those gritty dramas that tend to get nominated because, hour long, digging deep into shady characters and
politics
and all that. The Mandalorian is a shorter show, for the most part, week to week, and it's
I think the longest episode was 52 minutes. I think that was the finale. And some of the there was one that was 32 minutes. I think it was episode 2 or 3, and a lot of people were surprised by that, right? It was wow, that's.
I know I was, because I have to admit, when the show was first being promoted, I did kind of expect the Game of Thrones version of Star Wars, where it was going to be sort of nitty gritty, hour-long episodes week to week. But that was, of course, before we knew anything about like Baby Yoda and the kind of tone that the show was going to have. And so it took some adjusting for me, I have to say.
It's interesting because the episode "The Prisoner" is nominated for an Emmy, and that was something that was really interesting. Like, you kind of get some Alien vibes the way it's shot, and that was a shorter episode too. That was like only like 38-40 minutes, but the format, like, they did some really intelligent things with the pacing, and that was kind of a problem in the end with Game of Thrones. We keep on referencing this. We'll try not to go back to the well too much as huge Song of Ice and Fire fans, but that is something that that kind of became an issue. You know what I mean? When you have so many POV characters. So the structure that we have with The Mandalorian is really smart because we already have an established world, but they start world building and they don't try to throw too much at you. And I thought that was actually really smart. Sometimes less is more, believe it or not. And as much as we would like 10 more episodes of The Mandalorian from season 1, of course, everyone would like more episodes of any TV show they like. They made really concise decisions, smart decisions about what kind of content they were going to be putting in the episodes. And the cool thing too is like, obviously we talked about Disney Plus. This show is going to be around for a while. It's going to have like 4 or 5 seasons. You know what I mean? Depending how long they want to go with it. And there could be spin-offs with some of the characters from the show that, like Ahsoka, we're going to talk about later. So it's really interesting to see kind of how they move forward with the format for The Mandalorian.
And I have to say, I think that for me personally, that shorter and more concise format was off-putting at first. But especially going back to rewatch the show this past weekend, I really kind of appreciated what they were doing, because really I think it's an homage to the serials that inspired George Lucas in the first place. And of course,
he's an advisor, by the way, with the show with Dave. He has a huge amount of respect for Dave Filoni. They have a big friendship, right? Like a strong.
Yeah,
friendship.
well, Dave Filoni is the apprentice, basically. George Lucas is the master. Dave Filoni is the apprentice. Although more and more, he's becoming the master himself, because he's more
power.
he's more than proven that he's worthy of following in those footsteps. And I mean, y'all will be able to tell by my shirt that I am a huge.
Bertinsky literally said in the chat, $10 says John has his Ahsoka Funko at the ready. Literally 5 seconds later, you lifted up your shirt and it had Ahsoka on it.
I do not have the Funko at the ready, but that was a big mistake on my part, because I did one of the Here Be Dragon Star Wars streams literally with Ahsoka sitting right here the entire time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so she, you may be able to tell she's a favorite of mine. So,
oh, we got a donation in chat. Morally says, throwing a coin to my favorite YouTubers, Hype and Love. Thank you very much, Morally. That's time for the soundboard. Toss a coin to your YouTuber. Oh, join along, John. Coin to your YouTuber. Oh, Valley of Plenty. Thank you very much, Morley. We appreciate you. When I see John in person at a convention, I'll put that towards some drinks for me and him. We were talking about Dragon Con and how sad we are we can't go to conventions earlier, but that's a whole nother discussion. Right.
I will just say quickly that it made me very sad. This is really the first year I've had the privilege of being a part of our online community, and I really just wanted to meet so many wonderful people this year, and I have to wait though.
Kate, you also owe John $10 for having Ahsoka ready right there. So yeah, Voice of Geekdom is calling you out on that. So yeah, all the different Emmys, lots of different Emmys that they're nominated for. Outstanding Children's Program, Star Wars had been nominated for. Outstanding Character Voiceover, Taika Waititi is IG-11 in Chapter 8 when he had his big redemption moment. Outstanding Guest Actor, Giancarlo Esposito was obviously nominated. We're going to talk about him a lot. Outstanding Cinematography, outstanding fantasy costumes, outstanding single camera picture editing, outstanding sound editing, outstanding music composition, visual effects. So yeah, 12 different categories. Huge surprise. I think a lot of people in the community were surprised because usually, generally, in the first season of a show, you don't usually see that many nominations, right? Like that's just like historically not usually how things go down. But yeah, a nice surprise and well deserved, in my opinion.
And I do wonder what it bodes for the future of Star Wars television shows, as far as maybe the awards go, or even now if that emboldens Disney Plus to go even further than they already
Kennedy
are.
has spoke about the future of them holding back on Star Wars movies, so this can kind of be the method of delivery that we see moving forward.
And one of the things that really excited me when they started to develop these shows was that I think that there's so much potential because as someone who has really started to get into the books and seeing these different corners of the Star Wars galaxy, and as we've kind of seen in the animated shows too, there's just so much to explore. And I think that what they were trying to do with the Star Wars story movies, which was exploring some different corners of the galaxy, I think that release pattern maybe is too sparse. It's a movie every couple of years.
Yeah.
And you just want to spend so much time in this universe and really examining different characters and different storylines. So I actually think that the TV show format is a brilliant way to go if you're moving beyond just the saga films.
So yeah, like you said, success of science fiction and fantasy recognition, man, that's a big deal. And the first live action Star Wars show ever being nominated right off the bat. Yeah. That's a big deal. Let's talk a little bit about some directors, John. You down for that?
Okay, I am.
Okay, so last season we had a good mix of directors. We had Rick Famuyiwa, who's going to be coming back as a director. He really had those cool Kurosawa vibes, brought some of that to the show. But here's the list of directors. I'll just name them all, and then we'll go through the list and talk about why we're excited about them. So in no particular order, Dave Filoni, who's kind of Jon Favreau's partner in crime. We have Jon Favreau, who's the showrunner. We have Carl Weathers, who plays Grief Karga. We have Peyton Reed, the director of the Ant-Man movies. Really interesting. Robert Rodriguez, a great addition. He directed Mariachi in Sin City, so maybe we could get kind of like a cool black and white episode or something like that. From Dusk Till Dawn, you might recognize him from that. Yeah. Alita Battle Angel, so he kind of has some experience with VFX. And Rick Famuyiwa, who also directed some episodes last season. So those are the directors. I don't know if there's going to be any more added, but that's a pretty good list of directors, man. Like, that's a really, really good list.
Yeah, honestly, the only flaw in that list for me is the fact that I think they did really well by having some female directors last year, and I would have liked to see some of them return. So that's a little unfortunate for me. But then again, I'm not going to argue with that list of directors because there's some great names there. I know that I got really excited when I saw Robert Rodriguez on there.
Man. He's going to do something. They're going to have a wacky episode, man, next year, right? Like they have to have some sort of. They had Deborah Chow last year. She's actually the one who's directing the 6-part Obi-Wan series. They kind of got pushed back a little bit, right? She's still attached to
so maybe she's busy with that, hence and not returning for this. Which no complaints there because, I think she did episode 3 and episode 7 of last year, and those were some amazing episodes.
And then we had the Bryce Dallas Howard episode where we had the ATST, and we had the villagers fighting off the bounty hunters and stuff like that, and we have the Mandalorian taking off his helmet and finding perhaps a love interest. There's some speculation that that's where he's going to go at the end of his kind of arc in the Mandalorian. So that was. Yeah, that is kind of disappointing. Maybe they are leaving. Maybe we do have some women directors and they just haven't been announced yet. Who knows?
Yeah,
That
I
was a
will
nice
say.
surprise.
Yeah, I will say that my appreciation has really grown for that episode and the job that Bryce Dallas Howard did on it. Because I think when that episode first aired, I was still going through my, oh, these episodes are too short phase. But especially on rewatches, it's amazing how much she really packed into that episode. And you do get a sense of great character development from new characters, from from the Mandalorian. So that's a really well constructed episode. And yeah, it'd be nice if she returned.
There was some nice representation in that episode because we got the addition of Gina Carano in that
Yeah.
episode as well, and there was some really kind of really kind of cool old nods to some of the other, like Lothcat. Remember when Baby Yoda gets scared by the Lothcats, like wow, and then Baby Yoda jumps. So some cool kind of Easter eggs in that episode too. Like we talked about the ATST, that was really cool. I mean, it was just a really fun episode. You know, it was definitely Kurosawa-esque on how they ended up banding together, like the village bands together and fights against the nomads. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing.
Yeah, and it was also kind of a callback to one of the wonderful Clone Wars episodes. I can't remember the episode title right now, but there's a similar thing where Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka have to train villagers to defend themselves against bounty hunters. One of them being the absolutely wonderful Hondo Anako. I probably got his last name wrong just then. But that's a great episode. And so this kind of felt in a similar vein. It's great. It's sometimes, recurring story elements work for a reason. And we like to see our heroes helping out those who can't necessarily defend themselves to stand on their own.
Well, there's always going to be those tropey tropes that we see that are common in storytelling, and that are and that's part of the reason, part of what makes Star Wars so great is you can be familiar with some of those tropes and that familiarity, and that's what people have come to love about Star Wars. So really cool list of directors. I mean, so Robert Rodriguez, really interesting addition. What do you think about the possibility of getting like a black and white Sin City, like acid-y, like kind of like trippy episode, man? Because he's done From Dusk Till Dawn, El Mariachi. He's obviously been attached to Sin City, like we were just talking about. Alita Battle Angel, he has experience with VFX too. He's got a list. He's been attached to a lot of really successful movies, but for them to specifically go out and get him is like that kind of raised my attention a little bit. I'm like, oh, why did they specifically pick him?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they'll go as far as, like a sort of black and white trippy episode, but he is just one of my favorite directors. I think I'll always love him unconditionally for Desperado, which is just a favorite from, the minute that movie opens up. It's just a fun ride.
The series is great, man.
Yeah.
And those have a lot of really cool filming techniques. Like those were like kind of really kind of used some older filming techniques, but also some new school ones, and kind of really set the path forward for those specific type of movies, like the Mexican Westerns and stuff like that. So like those are really fun movies to watch.
Yeah, I know he wrote a book about his journey filming El Mariachi, which is inspiring to read if you're someone who wants to get into filmmaking and you're like, oh, I can't do it. Read that and you're like, no, you can just put your mind to it. He's going to be great. I don't know what to expect from it. Are they going to go like full Sin City with an episode? Yeah. Maybe.
It's cool because he's filmed a lot of like town hunkers down, battles against a bunch of baddies type of episodes too, similarly to kind of what went down in the Bryce Dallas Howard episode. So that could be something that we can maybe expect in some of his episodes as well. And he's had from Dusk Till Dawn, they had a lot they didn't have as much VFX as they did back in the day. So they did a lot of costume work. So he has experience with that. And that was something that The Mandalorian was nominated for. So that was another big strong suit and something that Robert Rodriguez is familiar with. And for them to kind of, for them to have the kind of assets that they have, right? And put those in the show and have Robert Rodriguez have availability to that, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it really kind of reminds me of when Game of Thrones really started to pick up acclaim, and you saw all of these actors come on the show. You never would have imagined would have been interested in a show like Game of Thrones. And I feel like what we're seeing with the directors on The Mandalorian is it's happening faster, where they may be able to attract some really impressive talent.
Well, I mean, Peyton Reed. Yeah. I mean, he's not the biggest name in Marvel, but I mean, those movies are still enormous, right? Those are still so popular, right?
I think they're some of the funnest movies of the MCU. Personally,
those might be as wacky. Those have some really wacky. That has some wacky fun shit too. So that could be another. I mean, they go to like microscopic levels of the universe and go explore different parts of the universe. So I don't know. We could see some really cool trippy shit with that too.
Yeah, we'll go. I hesitate to say this, but I'm like, we can go microscopic and explore the midichlorians.
Oh God, here we go. Baby Yoda's midichlorians. Ben says your mic is louder than mine. I adjusted it, Benjamin. Is that better? And Chad, is that better? I definitely adjusted the volume, so I should be louder now. So yeah, let's continue. Peyton Reed from Ant-Man, that's another snag, and also familiarity. Obviously, Disney and Marvel being under the same umbrella, so they have a familiarity there. And Jon Favreau probably knowing Peyton Reed, obviously. So that's something that is
that's not surprising to me, because one of the things that I kind of picked up on back when the first episode aired was that there was almost a kind of Marvel-esque sense of humor that right off the bat when Mandalorian is capturing that first bounty, and it just sort of, the fact that you're seeing this alien guy sort of quipping these lines that felt like it could have come out of Guardians of the Galaxy or something. So it's not surprising to me that they'd pull one of the directors in from the MCU, and he does a great job on those movies. So I think that'll be interesting to see.
In my other live stream the other day, I talked about Carl Weathers, who plays Greef Karga, the possibility of him directing his own death episode.
You said that, and I was like, no, don't say that. I don't hear that.
But listen, Catherine Winnick from I can't get this out of my head now. Catherine Winnick, who played Lagertha, spoiler, from Vikings, she directed her final episode, and we do see that a lot. You know what I mean? People who have some director's experience might direct their final episode. People who have been attached to a show for 4 or 5 years. People like, Bryan Cranston or Aaron Paul. People like the kind of people that have been invested in a project for so long and have a relationship with the showrunners and are like a main protagonist do get opportunities like that. We do see that in the movie and TV industry. Yeah. So I'm just throwing it out there, but you know what I mean? The reason I say that is because Moff Gideon is still there with the Darksaber, and Cara Dune and Greef Karga didn't go with the Mando and Baby Yoda. So they might feel Moff Gideon's wrath. You know what I'm saying? They're still on the same planet as him. So I don't know if that might be like killing off a major character in a first episode type of deal. I'm not predicting that. I just think it's kind of interesting that the fact that the fact that that's a possibility,
I say he can come back to direct in subsequent seasons, and further down line he can direct his own death scene. I don't want it to happen now. I love Carl Weathers. I want him to stick around, and I want to talk to him about what is so sort of brilliant about what he did with his performance, because from a lot of the season 1, he's very, he's presenting himself in sort of this, he's a magistrate or former magistrate. So he presents himself with this air of like,
he's like an SS soldier. SS soldiers had a very high rank. They were considered like royalty under Hitler's what he wanted to accomplish, and that's kind of what it is under the Empire too. There's a similarity there.
Yeah, when he sends like messages to the Mandalorian, he's like, "Greetings, I would like to discuss something with you." But then the second like his life is in danger when he gets attacked by one of those creatures, he's like, "Oh, so this is how it ends." And then when you get into the battle, he's like, he's gonna try and eat me. And then later on, he's taking drinks, so he drops sort of a performance that the character is putting on, and you get to see the real grief like underneath that. And I thought that was really brilliant to have sort of two layers, the way he presents himself to his underlings sort of, and then when you get to know the real him. And so I thought that was just brilliant, and that's why I want to see a lot more of him going forward.
Also, we have Helen in the chat, who's obviously who will be my co-host for all the Mandalorian episode reviews. And I know you two, like we spoke about earlier, how you and Helen have been collaborating before. So Helen is freaking out in chat. She's like, "Wait, how did John get here?" So so that should be really cool to have Helen back on. I know she's really excited. She messaged me the other day. She goes, "Bish, Mando, it's October 30th. She just said, "Bitch, Mando is coming back." So that was really funny when she messaged me about that.
This will come as no surprise to her, but I adore Helen. She is absolutely lovely. But she makes me do these epic homework assignments to talk Tolkien, because it's like I can't just pull Silmarillion knowledge out of my head at random. I gotta,
Helen will tell me a name or something, and I'll be like, "Who, the what, how? I never read the Silmarillion." That's like
I am such a passionate Tolkien fan, but even me, it's like the Silmarillion is tough. So I do have to do a lot of rereading for our streams. I love doing it.
She says, "John is my homie, brother from another elf." Lol. We also have Amy Blackfire joining us in chat. Rocking Ocean. Amy, we love Amy. There's Voice of Geekdom, another person who seems to know Helen. Rocking Ocean. Giancarlo Esposito is so good as a baddie. I want him to die, but also don't. Yeah, we were actually talking about how the Mandalorian can empathize him next season, and possibly how we can get some flashbacks. But let's kind of jump into the next set of subjects, because we got a lot to talk about. So that was the list of directors. Rick Famuyiwa is coming back. Carl Weathers, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni. They know the Star Wars universe. Hopefully we'll have some female representation like we did last season with Deborah Chow and also Bryce Dallas Howard, but that hasn't been made available yet. So possibly that's only 6 directors. So maybe some of these directors are getting more than 1 episode. We don't know. That's what happened last season. Rick did get 2 episodes, but it will be really, really interesting to see what happens. Sorry, go ahead.
I know you said that The Prisoner is either your favorite or one of your favorite episodes from season 1. I love that episode.
Yeah,
it's great because it's extremely self-contained, and I actually think it's probably one of the episodes that to me feels most, except maybe the finale.
Well, we had so many cool guest appearances too, like Bill Burr and all of the great costume work, all of the different aliens. That was so cool, right? Natalie Tanya from Game of Thrones was there.
She was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, the cast for that episode was great, and I think some of the best performances of the season, honestly. And we got some great cameos too. I loved seeing Matt Lanter, in his cameo, because I'm a huge fan of his Anakin Skywalker from Clone Wars.
Oh man, Mark Boone Jr. From SOA, Sons of Anarchy. That was another really cool casting too. There was just a lot of Clancy Brown as Berg, like that was amazing. He's just like this big hulking devil. So yeah, that was a really cool episode, and we'll get more of that, right? Like we expect some episodes will be shorter and some will be longer. Hopefully we'll get 10 episodes, maybe not 8, but we'll probably at least be getting 8 by the looks of it. There's only 6 directors, but some of those could be getting 2 episodes. So yeah, now that we're out of we're moving into the next topic, casting news. And this is where we get some of the big bombshells, chat. Okay?
Has there been big casting news for this season? I'm unaware.
Let's just start with number 1. Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano ranks in my top 3 favorite Star Wars characters ever. Obi-Wan's my favorite. As you can see, Obi-Wan Kenobi is my name today. But man, what do you think about this? Rosario Dawson was obviously fantastic in all of the Marvel Netflix shows. And she's a really big name. They went out and specifically got a big name for this. Some people thought it was just going to be a small role, but I don't think so. I think that...
I will say that at first, there was part of me that's saying, no, Ahsoka is Ashley Eckstein. That's the only person I want.
Dream casting?
But I get it, and as long as she continues to do work as Ahsoka in the animated realm, I'll be happy. I think Rosario Dawson, great choice. I mean, she's gonna do a great job because she's a wonderful actress, and I am really excited to see Ahsoka in live action.
They are gonna do the her tail fins. Those are gonna be really cool, and it's rumored that she has a blue lightsaber, which is huge. I might get you to talk about that, John. And also that she's gonna be hooded. We're gonna get the like a very Obi-Wan-esque version of Ahsoka. And you can talk a little bit about this, the blue lightsaber.
Well, actually, I had to read up on this because I did not know about this, because I've been kind of there's some stuff you can't escape hearing, but there had been so much news coming out. I'm like, no, I want to have some stuff be a surprise as I watch season 2. But I read up on this, and apparently there's this idea that that Ahsoka will be in possession of Luke's lightsaber. Because we don't know
which was also whose lightsaber.
Anakin's.
Right. And Anakin was basically Ahsoka's master, Jedi master. Ahsoka was an apprentice of fucking Anakin, man. So it's crazy. And the cool thing about this, John, is that Giancarlo Esposito has been in like 3 or 4 separate interviews said lightsaber battles. Like, that's the most thing that he's excited for season 2 is the fact that he gets to use the Darksaber. So I think they're pretty much just telling us that Ahsoka and friggin' Moff Gideon are going to be fighting, which is like just epic as hell.
Yeah, I just don't want anything to happen to Ahsoka. I'm like, protect her at all costs.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's what's great. What I really like about this theory, though, is because obviously, there's all sorts of criticisms about, the sequel trilogy. And I know one of them is kind of like, oh, unanswered questions. They teased, telling us, how Maz Kanata got, the lightsaber. And we never find out. But then that leaves open possibilities to explore that. And honestly, there's been nothing more exciting to me than if Ahsoka was the one in possession of it, because that would carry so much personal resonance, just because of her history with Anakin. And so I think it would be really emotional. And
the voice of Geekdom says he also used that lightsaber to murder a bunch of kids. Dan, why do you gotta that's such a friggin' that hurts, man. You gotta bring up a painful moment like that in chat. Oh, wait. The soundboard.
I understand that if any more words are pouring out your cunt mouth, I'm gonna have to eat every fucking chicken in the
That's for you, Dan. Can you hear that? Can you hear that on the soundboard? That was sent.
Shame.
Shame on you, Dan, for making us relive that. But yeah, it's crazy though, man.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like, okay, Ahsoka didn't witness that. She doesn't necessarily know the specifics of what that lightsaber is used for. Don't bring that into it. Don't.
One cool thing that we have a few notes here that we're just referencing because we like to be organized. And yeah, laugh about it, Dan. Punishment is coming for you. Anyways, so one thing that we kind of want to talk about is that, like, why is Ahsoka in The Mandalorian? And I don't know. This is just kind of the road I think they're going to go with it. But I think that Ahsoka is going to be on her own mission already. And she's going to be tracking what Werner Herzog and Dr. Pershing were doing with Baby Yoda. And we're going to find out that the Empire is rounding up all sorts of Force-sensitive kids and people around the galaxy. And because why would Dr. Pershing be there in season 1? He's a clone doctor from Kamino, man. Are they trying to build a Force-sensitive army? That would be something that would be incredibly valuable to the Empire and maybe turn the tide even more, right? Because we know that what happened in Rise of the Skywalker, Emperor Palpatine is still around. I don't know if they're going to continue with that narrative in that canon. I'm not saying that we're going to see Emperor Palpatine, but there's a reason why they're searching for this DNA, this Force from Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how they work in Ahsoka, because last time we saw her in the timeline of Star Wars, she's setting off with Sabine to look for Ezra. So is this after that search? Has Ezra been found?
Oh, Ezra!
Are we going to hear anything about it, or are they just going to tease us by omitting that and making us wonder and leaving that for the storytelling of another show, whether that's animated or live action?
So can you clarify that? Because some people might not know about that. Ezra came in contact with, there was scripture of Yoda's species on the wall and stuff like that, right? And we know that the Mando is trying to find Baby Yoda's homeworld and his species. So that's something that's going to be an interesting narrative. Like, she could help out with that, right? Like, I mean, she's obviously a Jedi, right? Like, she might have information about that.
Yeah, well, the fact that she is at least a former Jedi.
Yeah, former.
I think will tie in with the fact that Mando is going to be looking for Jedi, because he's looking for Baby Yoda's people, which could mean his race, but I think also means looking for other Jedi. And if we had unlimited possibilities as far as like filmmaking techniques, I'd be like, he's going to find Luke. But since but since I don't think they can that convincingly
that would be a young Luke in Mando,
yeah. So I think if that, aside from that, I think it would be Ahsoka that he would come in contact with. And let's be honest, the reason why Ahsoka is coming in is because the character is more popular than ever, and they want to bring her into the live action realm. Now, you did talk about the fact that some people think it's going to be a smaller role versus a bigger one. I actually think both are extremely possible in their own ways, because I do see them using Ahsoka here to kind of set up maybe
a spinoff,
or her having her own show, or it could.
There have been rumors of that, right?
Yeah. Or she could figure prominently. Something I'm thinking of is it could be similar to how we saw the use of Cara Dune in season 1, where she'll pop up in an episode and then come back into play in maybe the final 2 episodes of the season.
Are they like beta testing us for like how popular Rosario Dawson's version of Ahsoka would be? Like, and if she's super popular, they'll be like, okay, like we're giving her, 1, 2, 3 seasons of a show as a spinoff, right? Because that's what they're doing with the Marvel universe, right? They're doing all of these different characters from the Avengers, and they're having like their own like 6, 8-part spin-off series and stuff like that. And they have said they want to do more the Cassian Andor and stuff like that, right? They're going to be doing more spin-off shows from some of the Rogue One characters that we saw. So this is not out of the realm of possibility what you're saying, John, in the fact that we could be getting an Ahsoka spin-off. Now, we don't have concrete information on that. We're just kind of going based off some trends that we've seen with other shows. But yeah, that's so interesting, dude. The fact that could happen. And one thing that's interesting too is, let's just get into this. The Darksaber. How in the fuck does Moff Gideon have the Darksaber? Because Bo-Katan has been cast, and Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica is going to be playing Bo-Katan. So we could see Ahsoka and Bo-Katan together, right? Like trying to find the Darksaber, because we know the Darksaber is like basically the symbol of a king. Like Moff Gideon is basically a king of the Mandalorians with the Darksaber. Oh, did we lose John, everyone? Okay, we'll try to get him back. Here, one sec. John? Let me see if I can get him back, everyone. One sec. Sorry about that. Just going to message him on Facebook, see if he's cool. Can everyone still hear me? I'm still here. We're trying to get John back, everyone. One sec. Hopefully he's good. I can sing in the meantime. John, you get my man? We'll just wait a couple moments, everyone. Well, I'll just chat with you in chat while we wait for John. Hopefully he will come back. Is everyone having a good time, by the way? Are you enjoying this Mandalorian content? It's been a super fun discussion so far, having on a new guest at the channel and someone who is very knowledgeable about Star Wars. We want to have new guests on the channel, right? So we have some other awesome people in chat. I love Rocking Ocean. Rocking Ocean is very vocal today. I love that. Amy says, I leave you two alone for 1 minute to make tea. Only 4 months left in 2020, everyone. Looking forward to 2021. Is everybody excited for The Mandalorian Season 2? J-Dubs is awesome. I agree. Haven't heard a response from him yet. We shall see what he says. I just sent him a message on Facebook. He probably had some internet issues, so we'll... We had some to start, which was my fault. I had it on the wrong setting, but we're still here. every day in 2020 feels like a Friday to me. You know what I mean? It's just like, my God, where did the time friggin' go? You know? Just continuing to check for John here. Hope John's okay, first of all. Very stoked for season 2. I think Katie Sackhoff is the casting that I'm most excited about. Bo-Katan. Yeah. I need more Baby Yoda in my life. Also, I need to get some Mando shirts, because we have so much cool stuff in the background, right? We got all the cool Blaze manga art in the background. Like we got a cool background. We got a cool streaming space, right? But now we need some drip. We need some cool drip, right? We need to get some cool shirts like Mandalorian inspired shirts, like This Is the Way, Baby Yoda, Ahsoka shirts and stuff like that. I'll have to go on what's one? Redbubble is a good one. We don't really have that many good Canadian sites like that, so I'll have to probably order American side, but 2020 is like Monday, 3 p.m. all year. Yeah, that's kind of what it does feel like, huh? Hope John is okay. We're just hanging out in the meantime. We'll give it a few minutes. We got some time, right? It's Sunday. There's no need to rush. We're just hanging out together. Someone's cutting the grass outside and it's kind of pissing me off. Can y'all hear that? I did send John another invite. Like I said, we'll wait a few minutes. Y'all are okay with that? Waiting a few minutes for John? If not, we'll just proceed and we can continue to talk about some of these other points with John. Maybe John's dog, Sam, kicked off his router. John, comment? Okay, so maybe, hopefully we'll get John back. I think it's probably an internet issue. I love dogs, man. Dogs are such cool animals. I think they're probably dogs are the best animal in my opinion. They're loyal as hell. You know, they're funny, they're sweet, they're loving. Yeah, okay, we got a message from John, everyone. He's trying to reconnect. Let's play around with the soundboard. Does everybody want to hear the soundboard? Here's what we have programmed so far.
Finish him.
So we have finish him for when we're playing like Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, stuff like that. Then we have this. For when really weird shit like deconnections happen.
Toss a coin
to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh. For when people toss a coin to your YouTuber. Manatee. Internet router lost connection. Resetting now. It could be his dog, like you guys say. Then we have this.
Did we just become best friends? Yep. Do you want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
So we got that. Then we have Final Fantasy Victory Song. What else do we have? Do we have the Zelda chest opening? I think we do. And then we have the Shame Bow.
Shame.
And of course, Sandor.
I understand that event.
I can program another 8 into the soundboard, another 8 sounds. Yeah, the soundboard is great, right? I really love the Rodecaster. I got a mixer and then I got the mic. I wanted to improve some of the fun stuff on the channel, and do all sorts of kind of different, fun, inspiring stuff and keep chat engaged. And it's a fun way to just have some laughs. 2020 is stressful, man. Yeah, I gotta do 8 more. I gotta put 8 more into the soundboard. Here, one sec, chat. I'm just gonna close my windows because that lawnmower is pissing me off. Suggestions in chat for some of the other stuff that we should have on the soundboard. I'm in for that. Yeah, we can probably do that. Soundboard is popping. Here, let's check if John's not back quite yet. Poor John, man. Right in the middle of an awesome conversation, and this is where we're at. If y'all have things that you want in the soundboard, put them in the live chat if you want to hear them. Also, I'll take this opportunity to shamelessly plug and market myself. We have special emojis. And check this out, chat. Look at this. If you hit that join button, look at what we have. Mandalorian and Baby Yoda emojis. How cool is that? Starts at $4.99 a month. There's bonus content. I do bonus polls. It's a special thing in the community tab. It really helps support the channel, by the way. So if you're into that, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. I appreciate any way people support the channel. So hitting that join button is a new feature that we have. And we also have my links to my Patreon in the description of the video. So I will put the link in the chat in case anyone is interested. I do bonus content, and there's all sorts of cool perks and stuff like that. You don't have to, but if you want to support the channel, that's totally cool. So there's the link for the join button. But yeah, the more people that hit the join button and get channel memberships, the more emojis we get and stuff. So, yeah, as more people support the channel, the more cool stuff we get to get. And we get badges, like sub badges and stuff that get illuminated in chat. So that's pretty cool. Waiting for John's hologram. Help me, Obi-Wan Kyle-Obi. Lol. That's super funny, Jess. That's really funny, actually. And then here's the link to my Patreon. We currently got the new Fandom Media Patreon since we made the name change and the changeover. And we're at 23. So we're trying to get to the goal of 30 by the end of the month for Patreon, and we're currently at 23 patrons. So thank you to everyone who signed up and supported the channel. Really, really appreciate that. I see some of you in chat right now. There we go. John!
Oh my God, I am so sorry.
Oh man, I was entertaining chat with the soundboard, man. It's all good. No stress at all.
I always use a wired connection for these things. But
was it your dog?
Like
people were saying it was your dog in chat.
No, my internet router just decided to stop working altogether. So I had to reset it, and unfortunately that takes a few minutes.
Don't even worry about it, my man. We were talking about how badass... okay, we were talking about Katie Sackhoff and bo-katan. That's what we were at.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I could not be more excited for this because obviously as she's voiced bo-katan for years on Clone Wars and Rebels, it's like, come on, that's an easy choice. And I'm glad they did go with her because obviously in the case of Ahsoka, they've chosen to go with a different actress than the voice performer. But I think because Katie Sackhoff is as well as being such, as well as doing the voice, she's an extremely well-known actress in the sci-fi community. I mean,
she
Battlestar Galactica.
As popular or more popular than Rosario Dawson. Like, she's a huge name. Like Battlestar Galactica was huge back in the day, man. Like she was, and she's been in tons of movies. Like you said, she knows the role of bo-katan. It's gonna be really interesting to see how in the hell Moff Gideon got the Darksaber from her.
Which is why I'm so like terrified, because I am sort of, I'm of the opinion that I know I heard you talk about this on another one of your videos where you don't think she'll just be there for flashbacks, but I do think that is a possibility because I see Moff Gideon. So you think that
she could have a smaller role than Ahsoka per se?
Yeah, because I see Moff Gideon with the Darksaber, and I'm like, he must have gotten that in some kind of, maybe a fight with bo-katan, and I'm really worried that she didn't survive that confrontation. Man. I hope I'm wrong, because I want lots of bo-katan, lots of Katie Sackhoff, but I'm sort of assuming the worst, so my heart isn't broken.
Well, one thing that's super interesting that they built up towards all last season was our Mando, Din Djarin. Is it Din Djarin or Din Djarin? It's Din Djarin. It's Din Djarin.
Din Djarin.
So Din Djarin, our Mando, had flashbacks to the Siege of Mandalore when he was a foundling.
Yes.
Moff Gideon made some pretty interesting comments about having information about this character. Moff Gideon knows who he is because the Mando says specifically that he has information on them. So that's really interesting. And we could possibly, and I said we're probably going to see a flashback to Moff Gideon's early days, but We're going to find out if Moff Gideon stole it from Bo-Katan, if he got it during the Siege of Mandalore, because Bo-Katan would probably be there during the Siege of Mandalore. Right.
And what's interesting to me is that since you bring up the Siege of Mandalore, it's funny that there seem to actually be two separate sieges of Mandalore, because we know of the Siege of Mandalore from the Clone Wars, and I assume that's what he referred to when he was talking in the finale.
Yeah.
But he speaks of the Night of 1,000 Tears, which did not transpire during the conflict that we saw in the Clone Wars. I think that this is in reference to the eradication of the Mandalorians. And so
because we have only a small sect of what we see with the Armorer and all of them, right? Like they are very fractured. Like they're living underground. That's how bad things are for them.
Yeah. So it's interesting that as a huge Clone Wars fan, I hear Siege of Mandalore and I'm like, that got me really pumped up for the Clone Wars finale, because I think Clone Wars fans have been waiting for that for years and years, and it didn't disappoint. But it's kind of funny that there's this other event.
Oh no. Frozen mid-frame, man. Poor John. Is he still here? I think we might have lost our friend John again. Chat, can you still hear me at least? We're still here. It says we're still live, so that's a good thing. Poor John, man. Yeah, we lost John. Oh man, it's so unfortunate. Internet issues, huh? It's cool. We'll wait for him to come back. We got time. We're chilling. We're chilling. Shit happens. You can still see my beautiful beard. What's up, Rick? So yeah, we were talking about the Siege of Mandalore. Something that we'll probably learn more about and see more, hopefully. Now I'll be keeping on the lookout here for John. Poor guy, man. Ugh. I hate having internet issues. That's why I got this new computer, so we wouldn't have any of that. I'm hardwired in right to the modem. And yeah, this has been a great addition for the stream and whatnot. Yeah, it's good that it doesn't happen on his own streams. Yeah, we're pretty chill here. And by the way, thank you everyone for being so chill. Shit happens. It's 2020. It's to be expected, huh? Oh man. So what we could do is we can have a little Q&A until John gets back. We can talk more about some of the other stuff. Q&A chat. Let's do it. Open it up to some questions. It doesn't have to be Mandalorian, by the way. We'll just do a fun Q&A until John gets back. Oh, there's John. John is back.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Can you turn it up a little bit?
Okay. I can try and move closer. I'm on my cell phone now.
Oh, no worries, man. If that's fine. I'll just ask chat. Can everyone hear? Can everyone hear John now?
Hey guys, can you hear me? Check. 1, 2, 3.
John is a warrior, man. Get in on his cell to get back as quick as he can so we can chat more Mandalorian. I love it.
Yeah, I must just be having service issues with my provider. That's the only explanation. So yeah, we'll go like this for now.
Oh, it's no worries, man. It's not a big deal. So Siege of Mandalore, where were we? I can't remember exactly what point you were making.
Yeah, but it's just interesting that, that the Siege of Mandalore, as we know it from Clone Wars, is so completely sort of dwarfed by the enormity of what actually happens to the Mandalorians later on, that then that event becomes known as the Siege of Mandalore. That's just interesting to me. So, so yeah, I wonder, like, what we'll get to see of that in flashbacks.
Yeah, it would be because we did get quite a bit. We didn't get the whole story, but the Mandalorian, his helmet came off in an IG-11, right? Saved his life. So, and once a Mandalorian takes off their helmet, they can't put it back on. So we could get something like that in season 2 with the Mandalorian, because Pedro Pascal is such an iconic actor. He's played so many great roles, and I think we're going to see that at some point in the future, where we get to see his beautiful face. More than not, but we're definitely gonna see Moff Gideon clash in there, and it's interesting that that's so interesting that they're casting these 2 fantastic, strong female characters in season 2 of The Mandalorian, and it's a testament of Disney Plus taking big risks, because they took some big risks with the new Star Wars trilogy, bringing back some of the old fan favorite characters, but this is a different type of storytelling than we see in movies. So I'm more confident that this will go over much better than what happened with the trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just interested to see how much of the narrative some of these other characters sort of take over in season 2, because I think that they'll want to keep it primarily as Din Djarin's story. Mm-hmm. So it'll be about finding that balance, about bringing in these characters that we love, but also keeping it the story of The Mandalorian.
One other huge thing, big announcement, another casting that is coming for season 2 of The Mandalorian, John. Tamora Morrison, who played Boba Fett, is cast in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Now, some people are saying Boba Fett, and I got a lot of heat for saying that wasn't Boba Fett and at the end of one of the Mandalorian episodes where we see the heel spurs and stuff like that. Now, there is a rumor that Timothy Olyphant, who's cast in season 2 of The Mandalorian, is wearing Boba Fett's armor, and Tamora Morrison, who plays Boba Fett, who has played Boba Fett, will be playing Rex, a Clone War, a clone commander.
I want it to be Rex, and there's honestly nothing saying that it won't be both.
That would be cool, like if he played 2 roles, right?
Yeah, but if it were to be only one, I want it to be Rex, because I love Rex.
And he shares a strong relationship with Ahsoka, which makes sense, right?
Yeah. And so I think if we see Ahsoka, which we are going to, obviously, there's this, and Tamora Morrison is cast in the season, then I think there is a very strong likelihood of Rex making an appearance.
And then we have a nice fellowship for the Bando to help escort Baby Yoda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have a space Gandalf and Ahsoka. We have an older dude that's respected like Gimli in Rex, but he's not as crazy as Gimli. So it'll be really cool to kind of see the Mando get some allies, because certainly they are going to need them with how many assets and how hunted they're going to be with the fact that how pissed off Moff Gideon must be that they escaped him.
Yeah, and I like the idea that there's going to be a nice, big roster of characters, because I think one of the really strong points of the end of season 1 was that you developed a really great ensemble. And for me, that's usually what, is the best thing about, shows like this, when you have all these different characters interacting. So I would love to see kind of, I hesitate to use a Marvel term, but an Avengers.
Oh, yeah. Man, rest in peace, Quill. I wanted him to survive so bad. I was so sad when he died, man.
It broke my heart all over again watching the episodes the other day. Just, you think he's made it, and then they just cut right to, Baby Yoda being on the ground, and you're like, wait, what happened? And we pan up and see him. It's like, no. He was great, and Nick Nolte did such a great job voicing.
That was a surprise. That was such a great casting.
And can I say that it's funny, I didn't really realize until I read up on some of the making of that, like, he was not, like, obviously the body was not Nick Nolte, but the face of Quill looked kind of
it did kind of look,
that I thought that he was actually under some makeup for at least, using the face, but no, it was animatronic, and they must have just designed him to look a bit like Nick Nolte, because could have fooled me. But great character, and great job performing that character.
One other thing that we're going to bring up is something that you wrote in the document, John. The armorer possibly being someone that we may not expect. Someone that is from another sect of the Mandalorians, the Death Squad, Rook. That would be an interesting twist.
Now, have you thought of this before?
No, I have not. Because she looked like, in D&D terms, lawful good, or like a paladin. You know what I mean? That's kind of the energy that she was given to me, that she was good. But you're suggesting that it possibly could not be.
I noticed that not a lot of people are exploring this possibility, and I have to say I'm a little surprised. Maybe it's just because Rook is not a very well-known character. And for people who don't know who we're talking about, this is a character who has appeared in both the Son of Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir comic, and and also in the Siege of Mandalore episodes at the end of Clone Wars, who was one of Darth Maul's Mandalorian lieutenants.
Darth Maul has also been rumored to possibly be in The Mandalorian. That's something that's been put out there, and that's why you're suggesting this, correct?
No, actually, not at all, because Darth Maul is actually dead by this point in the timeline, because he's already been killed by Obi-Wan, although there's every possibility of seeing him in flashback.
If you haven't seen the body, you don't, that whole narrative, I get that. But
the fact that her helmet has horns that kind of look a bit like Maul. Some of her armor is the kind of pinkish red or purplish red color that she was associated with. Really, a lot of his Mandalorians were associated with. And the fact that I feel like she knows more than she's letting on. She talks about this age-old conflict between Mandalorians and these ancient warriors known as Jedi. The Jedi and the Mandalorians have had much more recent contact than that suggests. So I actually think that
her comments are a bit suspect.
Yeah. And I don't think the fact that if she's Rook means that she's ultimately playing a predominant villainous character, because actually, as I was watching the show again, keeping this possibility in mind, I mean, that conflict is done. The Deathwatch Mandalorians versus the Jedi and all that. We've moved on to a new phase in which I think it adds some really nice shades to the character if you have this person who served Maul, who now can be seen, on the side of our main character here, the Mandalorian. And, good or bad does kind of tend to shift with perspective and what conflict you're involved with.
This is all about survival. They're underground. Like her shift has shifted to her own survival, right? So perhaps her hiding her identity like that, and perhaps her seeing the slaughter of her people might change her kind of outlook on things.
Of course, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I do think I think it would be cool.
Fun way to speculate on the possible, because this character hopefully will. And you said it was the possibility, we chatted privately, possibility of Bo-Katan being this character, hidden, and that being kind of a fun reveal for the second season.
Yeah,
Less certain about that, right?
I'm not quite sure about that. I know some people have speculated that, and but the fact is that they could have just as easily gotten Katie Sackhoff to go ahead and do that role from the get-go, if that was the case. Although maybe not if they wanted to keep it a secret who it is. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Either way, that would be a cool reveal. So
yeah,
but the thing is, if Bo-Katan is coming back into the story, and there's a lot of, and especially with the Darksaber being a big element, having one of Darth Maul's lieutenants as a central character would be another really interesting wrinkle in that whole story. And I'd love to see if it was that character, seeing a confrontation between her and Bo-Katan would be really interesting.
So the last point we're going to discuss here on the stream today is kind of in relation to this and kind of with the Darksaber. The last time we really saw there was the armorer and the Mandalorians obviously help fight Grief Karga and all the bounty hunters to help get the Mandalorian away with Baby Yoda. But getting another section of Mandalorians would be really interesting, because there is different factions within Mandalorian culture. And with Moff Gideon having the Darksaber, him having that, perhaps he could change minds a little bit, because if he has that, did he win a duel? We don't know. There's going to be more like what if he did win a duel against Bo-Katan? That would mean that more people would follow him probably. And the fact that he's aligned with the Empire would split the Mandalorian faction even more. Because we know they were even reluctant to do all of the stuff they were doing previously when we saw all of the bounty hunters and the Mandalorians fight, right? Like, there was already conflict within their sect. So it's really interesting to see where they're going to be going with that in season 2. Because the fact that they're bringing the Darksaber into really complicates things.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see, like, at what point does that tradition of following the person with the Darksaber kind of really, what's the breaking point for that? Because the Empire has been responsible for virtually wiping out their entire race. So would anybody follow, a member of the former Empire, just because they were in possession of the Darksaber? And if they would, then how are those Mandalorians viewed by other Mandalorians? They'd be the worst of traitors. So that does set up some really interesting conflicts going into season 2.
Because we saw that awesome one-liner, "This is the way," right? And that's a big statement. Like, this is the way we operate. That's our motto. Like, this is like, we are honorable. That's essentially what it means. We are honorable. This is the way we keep our honor, So it's going to be really interesting to see how many of them keep their honor when Moff Gideon has the Darksaber, and how many, big implications with Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, and all of these amazing characters we're going to be seeing in the Mandalorian season 2. So yeah, John, thank you so much for joining me today, man. I got to have you back on again to discuss the Mandalorian. I would love to invite you on for an episode review with me and Helen. Me and Helen are going to be reviewing all of the episodes, so hopefully you'll come back for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And fingers crossed that I will not have any of these issues. I am so sorry.
It's all good, man. We were hoping it was your dog so we can talk about dogs more, but it is what it is. No stress. So, John, what's up next for you? Can you talk a little bit about your channel? And for those, everyone who does want to check out what John has to say, you can find the links to his social media and channel to subscribe and all that in the description of the video. So what's next for you, John?
Yeah, so later tonight, as a matter of fact, on Here Be Dragons, I will be talking with Stephen and Nessie and Stephen's mom, who will be guesting on the channel, about season 1 of The Umbrella Academy. So that'll be really fun. And then next week, I'm actually, this is the first time I get to announce this, I'm moving my stream to Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And the next topic will be the AMC series, The Terror, the first season of that.
Oh, very cool.
Which I'll be doing with my wonderful friend Kelly, who many of you will know as Jaded Redhead.
Also, Ciarán Hinds is fantastic in that, right?
Yeah, it's Ciarán Hinds, Tobias Menzies, and Jared Harris. What's fun about Ciarán Hinds and Tobias Menzies being in that's both a Game of Thrones reunion and a Rome reunion. So,
one of my all-time favorite shows, man. Oh, such a great show.
Yeah,
that was in the beginning of the HBO days.
Yeah, and I actually did a couple of streams about that show with Nessie on my channel. They're some of the earliest streams I did. So if anybody wants to check those out, go ahead.
So yeah, like John said, he does all sorts of content on his channel and Here Be Dragons. Find the links to that in the description of the video. And yeah, go support John. Go subscribe to his channel. He makes great content. Of course, thanks everyone for joining today. Really, really appreciate Kate, Amy, Jess, Peter, Lady Leaf Underhill, Vlad. We also have Morley, who made the donation earlier. Jacqueline Sandwich. I'm trying to scroll up here. Rick Hoppy, Anthony Shaddix. We also had Rocking Ocean, who was very in the chat. Mandolin. We have Helen, who showed up, and all sorts of other awesome people. Voice of Geekdom Dan. Everyone who showed up in the comment section today. Really, really appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe and like if you'd like. And my Patreon and the join button if you want to monetarily support the channel. If you can. If you can't, totally understand. That's cool too. Thanks for joining us, everyone, today. We really, really appreciate you. Have an awesome rest of your Sunday. And go check out John tonight on his live stream. Bye, everyone.